Ada kalanya dalam mendidik anak-anak, ibu bapa secara tidak sengaja berkelakuan pilih kasih dalam memberi kasih sayang atau perhatian. Zahirkan kasih sayang terhadap anak-anak. Jika perlu ditegur, tegurlah dengan kasih sayang.
Salam keluarga Malaysia, hello and good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Muhammad Amin Carlos and you're watching News at 10. In our top stories tonight, inter-agency meeting on Monday to discuss flood preparation. Well, wearing of face masks no longer mandatory on school premises. Well, undergraduates and youths in the country have been urged to be equipped with knowledge and skills to prepare for an uncertain future. Well, Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Ri'ajuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah said it was important for them to be proficient with the latest technology, which is necessary not only for social purposes, but to help pave the way to a bright future for the country.
Maruah dan harga diri seorang manusia adalah berkait rapat dengan ilmu yang dimilikinya. Allah Subhanahu wa taala berfirman dalam surah Al-Mujadalah ayat ke-11 yang bermaksud, nescaya Allah mengangkat darjat orang-orang yang beriman dan orang-orang yang berilmu beberapa darjat. Kerana itu, pembangunan dan kemajuan tamadun sesuatu bangsa sentiasa dihubung kait dan dibatasi dengan tahap penguasaan ilmu dan pendidikan dalam kalangan masyarakat. Justru adalah amat bertepatan bagi pendidikan dijadikan sebagai agenda utama negara yang diwajib diperkasakan sesuai mengikut peredaran masa dan zaman.
Al-Sultan Abdullah, who is also University Technology Maras or UITM's Chancellor, said this at the 94th UITM Convocation ceremony at Dewan Agong Tuanku Chancellor at Shah Alam. Well, also present at the ceremony was UITM Pro-Chancellor Tengku Permaisuri of Selangor, Tengku Permaisuri Nur Ashikin. Well, earlier, Al-Sultan Abdullah conferred the title of Emeritus Professor on Dr. Norma Omar, who is the founder of UITM's Accounting Research Institute, known as ARI. His Majesty said Dr. Norma had made a name for herself through her expertise in the fields of corporate integrity, governance and Islamic financial criminology. The 94th UITM Convocation ceremony, being held face-to-face until 29 September, involves 23,359 graduates from Shah Alam, Sarawak and Sabah branch campuses. Well, a meeting will be held on Monday involving all related agencies and parties to prepare for the possibility of major floods hitting several states in November. The Prime Minister, Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, said all agencies, including the National Disaster Management Agency or NADMA, as well as state government representatives, would attend the meeting to ensure early preparation for the disaster.
Setengah negeri bersedia, setengah negeri yang tak biasa menghadapi banjir tak bersedia. Jadi akhirnya berlaku seperti yang telah berlaku dululah, terutamanya di Selangor dan sebagainya. Senak kali ini semua bersedia, bukan setakat di peringkat persekutuan, tapi banjir ini sampai ke peringkat daerah pun mesti ready sejak awal lagi. Pusat pembinaan banjir dah ada, dari segi stok makanan pun dah ready. Jadi dari segi peralatan untuk mengangkut, untuk perpindahan pun dah ready. Kalau boleh semua dah ready sebelum berlaku apa-apa.
The Malaysian Meteorological Department recently said that large-scale floods caused by continuous heavy rain are expected in the country from mid-November. It said that the northeast monsoon during the period would bring continuous heavy rain that could lead to major floods. On another note, the Premier said the living allowance for local and overseas students sponsored by Majlis Amanah Rakyat, MARA, will be increased with immediate effect. Well, Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri, when announcing this, said the new living allowance has been adjusted according to the increase in costs and inflation as well as the students' needs, adding it will benefit 63,000 MARA-sponsored students.
Pelaksanaan kadar ESH baru bagi pelajar dalam negara dinaikkan. Untuk dalam negara, ya, dinaikkan minimum RM650. Itu baru minimum. Minimum RM650 sehingga maksimum RM950 sebulan. Bagi bidang pengajian bermula daripada peringkat diploma sehingga doktor falsafah dan profesional. Bagi pelajar luar, ya, allowance dinaikkan untuk setiap bulan sebanyak minimum 1,380 sehingga 7,600 bermula daripada peringkat pengajian ijazah sarjana muda sehingga peringkat doktor falsafah dan peringkat profesional.
The Premier was speaking at the Aspirasi Kecermelangan Keluarga Malaysia program in Bangi, which was attended by nearly 3,000 students, while thousands others followed the event online. He said the existing allowance rate had been used for over 13 years and there was a need to review it following the increase in the cost of living in the country over the past 10 years, the coronavirus pandemic and other issues. Meanwhile, when met by media after the ceremony, Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri said he had instructed the Public Service Department, JPA, to also review the living allowance rates for JPA-sponsored students.
Jangan ada perbezaan sangat di antara MARA dan juga penaja-penaja pinjaman, penaja-penaja lain. Ya, saya tahu ada pertajaan yang jauh lebih tinggi, tapi minimum tu patutnya sama sajalah. Jadi sekarang ni JPA akan selaraskan. JPA akan selaraskan dengan tajaan-tajaan lain sekali supaya kita come out dengan rate yang hampir sama lah, seluruh tajaan. Alright.
Well, Malaysians, especially entrepreneurs, should take up the various opportunities offered in the digital economy to transform their lives. Communications and Multimedia Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa said that in an effort to guide the people that direction, his ministry had implemented various programs to provide knowledge and awareness to enable them to fully utilize opportunities in the digital economy. Well, in addition, he said the Malaysian Digital Economy Corporation, MDEC, an agency under the Ministry of Communications and Multimedia, had been tasked with ensuring the transformation process towards the digital economy goes smoothly through the program. Commenting further, Tan Sri Anwar said the hashtag Saya Digital program will head to every village, state to provide exposure to the people so that conventional business is one way, but participating in a new way of business through digital economy is also a method to be explored. He said this at the hashtag Saya Digital Perbadanan Ekonomi Digital Malaysia or MDEC program in Putatan, Sabah today. He said the hashtag Saya Digital program would also teach and assist young entrepreneurs and women entrepreneurs to fully benefit from the digital economy platform. He said that for Sabah, entrepreneurs who were able to move forward, especially through the digital economy, played a crucial role with the state government in prospering and developing the state's economy. Well, the use of face masks on school premises, be it indoor or outdoor, is no longer mandatory, said Senior Education Minister Dr. Razmi Jedin. Well, through a video clip on his official Facebook page, he said, however, the use of face masks was still encouraged in schools, especially in crowded places.
Namun begitu, kita amat galakkan pemakaian pelitup muka dalam kawasan sekolah ini, khususnya di tempat-tempat yang ramai orang. Pada masa yang sama juga, anak-anak diingatkan bahawa yang naik bas, pastikan anda memakai pelitup muka dalam bas sekolah. Apa yang paling penting, kita pastikan keadaan di sekolah ini selamat.
The ministry in a statement today said students were also required to wear face masks on public transport such as buses, trains or taxis, including e-hailing vehicles. It said it is up to the individual whether he or she wanted to wear a face mask indoor, outdoor or in open spaces of an educational institution. Well, Dr. Razmi said this following the announcement by the Ministry of Health on 7 September, which stipulated that the wearing of face masks inside buildings is now optional. A freelance preacher who was arrested on suspicion of committing physical sexual assault got acquainted with all the complainants through motivational programs held in schools around Selangor. Well, State Police Chief Dato' Arjunaidi Mohammed said checks on the man, who is in his 40s, found that he had committed the act on 4 victims aged between 17 and 18. While elaborating on the matter, Dato' Arjunaidi said the information was based on reports received by the police on 30th August. Well, 2 were lodged at the Klang Selatan District Police Headquarters, or IPD, one at Shah Alam IPD and another at the Kajang IPD. Well, acting on information, the suspect was arrested at about 4 p.m. on 8th September, and a 6-day remand order has been granted by the Klang Magistrate Court to facilitate investigations under Section 14, subsection A of the Sexual Offences Against Children Act 2017. Well, members of the public are advised not to make any speculation regarding the incident, as this could jeopardize the investigation and cause confusion among the community. It was a harrowing experience for 3 employees when 2 men robbed a gold shop and escaped with 660,000 ringgit worth of jewelry and cash in a brazen robbery in Selasa Rokam, Taman Ipoh, Ipoh today. Well, Perak Police Chief Dato' Muhammad Yusri Hassan Basri said a police team rushed to the scene when they were alerted of the incident that occurred at 10:15 a.m. Well, he said initial investigation found that 2 local men pointed a gun-like weapon at 3 workers while they were about to open the shop before escaping with the cash and jewelry. However, the victims were not injured in the incident. The case is investigated under Section 305/397 of the Penal Code for armed gang robbery. In a statement today, Dato' Muhammad Yusri said that police are actively hunting down the suspects and urged anyone with information to reach out to the authorities to assist in the investigation. He said the people are advised to always be vigilant of their safety and properties to prevent any unwanted incidents. Operators of high-risk businesses like jewelry shops or financial institutions are also encouraged to enhance their safety measures or target hardening their respective premises. Coming up, Malaysia's economy to record stronger growth in the 3rd quarter. Well, the Health Ministry is aware of the hardships faced by Sabahans who have to travel far and wide just to obtain treatment for their health conditions, and this according to Khairi Jamaluddin. Now, that is why the Health Minister said the ministry had come up with a plan to improve healthcare services in the state in the next 8 to 10 years under the 12 Malaysia Plan, or 12 MP and 13th MP. Well, Khairi said the terrain in the peninsula was far different to that in Sabah and Sarawak, where people sometimes had to travel over hills and mountains. Well, he said some areas in Sabah were very isolated and located hundreds of kilometers from the nearest hospital, and people had to travel for hours to receive health care.
Kita akan tambah kepakaran supaya dapat mengurangkan tekanan kepada Hospital Queen Elizabeth. Ini kita buat sebab kita tahu untuk mendapat rawatan peringkat pakar, rakyat negeri Sabah kena datang jauh ke Kota Kinabalu, ada juga yang kena pergi ke Kuala Lumpur dan sebagainya. Sebab itu lebih baik kita bawa kepakaran itu di kawasan-kawasan yang tidak ada kepakaran. Jadi saya serius dalam usaha ini.
He said this when met after the launch of the Agenda Nasional Malaysia Sihat Sabah Maju Jaya, or ANMS SMJ, in Kota Kinabalu today. Khairi yesterday announced several improvements for the health facilities and services in Sabah, including the elevation of the Duchess of Kent Hospital in Sandakan and Tawau Hospital to a state-level facility to be on par with the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in the state capital. The government is optimistic that the economy in the third quarter or Q3 of this year will show stronger growth based on current positive economic indicators. Finance Minister Tengku Dato Sri Zafrul Abdul Aziz said economic growth was in line with the unemployment rate, which was recorded at 3.7% in July compared to 3.8% previously. Well, he said the rate was also better than the unemployment rate during the pandemic, which was around 5.3% in May 2020. In addition, he said the gross domestic product in the second quarter of 2022 showed excellent growth compared to the previous projection of 8.9%. Tengku Dato Sri Zafrul said for the presentation of Budget 2023 on 7 October, the government will focus on four main issues, namely the people, business, economy and government. The government intends to set up more community-based rehabilitation centres known as PPDK for high-functioning autism or HFA throughout the country that focus on developing the potential of children with special needs. Well, currently there are only two centres for this purpose, namely PPDK Templar in Rawang and PPDK HFA Cyberjaya. According to statistics, as of 30th June, a total of 36,601 individuals in Malaysia have been confirmed to have autism, of which 24,748 are children under 12.
Bila kita nak tambah tu, kita akan melihat kepada keperluan. Dan jadi insya-Allah kalau ikut kita nak supaya PPDK ini ada pengkhususan yang tertentu juga. Dia bukan sahaja daripada HVA, juga pengkhususan kepada OKU yang lain. Supaya anak-anak ini bila kita tengok dia anak istimewa, dia ada kelebihan istimewa yang tak ada pada orang lain. Jadi kita nak kena tackle keistimewaan dia ni, kelebihan anak-anak ini supaya kita dapat develop mereka dan mereka boleh berdikari, mereka ada keyakinan diri yang lebih tinggi dan akhirnya mereka juga boleh berjaya sama seperti anak-anak yang lain.
Dato Sri Rina was met after attending the Sentuhan Kasih Prihatin Rakyat program for persons with disabilities or OKU in Cyberjaya. Meanwhile, the minister said parents and guardians need to ensure that special children are registered as OKUs to enable them to receive all the benefits the government has arranged for the group. To date, only 2.05% of OKUs are registered with JKM, which is a small figure compared to the estimated 15% of OKUs in the country. The Ministry of Transport plans to build a new jetty for passenger ferry operations to Langkawi as a long-term solution to the sedimentation problems that often occur at the Kuala Kedah and Kuala Perlis jetties. Now, Minister Dato Sri Dr. Wee Ka Siong said the problems were so frequent that the government had to spend about 50 million ringgit every 2 years to carry out dredging works to enable passenger ferries to the resort island to operate.
Di kawasan antara Perlis dengan Kedah ni ada tempat-tempat yang tidak terdedah kepada citation. Dan kita melihat kemungkinan ini dan melakukan kerja-kerja perancangan dalam tempoh terdekat. Saya rasa perkara ini perlu kita lihat dan untuk memastikan pengoperasian feri ini lebih terjamin, tidak terbantu disebabkan oleh masalah citation ini.
He explained that although the new jetty will be completed later, the Kuala Kedah jetty and Kuala Perlis jetty will not be closed and will operate for other purposes, including cargo services or for the use of fishermen. On the dredging work at the Kuala Kedah jetty, he said as of yesterday, it was 75% completed and expected to be fully completed in November. While the dredging work at the Kuala Perlis jetty was slightly delayed due to equipment problems and lack of manpower. Coming up in our foreign segment, King Charles officially proclaimed as Britain's new monarch. Well, King Charles III was officially proclaimed as Britain's new monarch today at a ceremony in St. James Palace, where former prime ministers, bishops and a host of politicians shouted, "God save the King." Now, the death of 96-year-old Queen Elizabeth on Thursday after 70 years on the throne set in train-long established and highly choreographed plans for days of national mourning and a state funeral that will be held in just over a week. Well, Charles III, 73 years old, succeeded his mother immediately on Thursday, but an accession council met today to proclaim his succession with his son and heir William, wife Camilla, and Britain's new Premier Liz Truss among those to sign the proclamation. Well, Charles III will also be the head of state for 14 other realms, including Australia, Canada, Jamaica, New Zealand and Papua New Guinea, besides the United Kingdom. His Majesty's coronation as king will take place at a later date, and the timing for that is not yet clear. Now, there was a 16-month gap previously between Elizabeth becoming queen in 1952 and her coronation in 1953. Charles III earlier vowed to serve the nation with loyalty, respect and love in his first address to the nation as king. His Majesty also said in his address that he had made his eldest son, William, age 40, the new Prince of Wales, the title that had been his for more than 50 years and is traditionally held by the heir to the throne. William's wife, Kate, meanwhile becomes Princess of Wales, a role last held by the late Princess Diana. Well, Vietnamese car maker VinFast today began handing its first batch of 100 all-electric sports utility vehicles, or SUVs, over to local customers, with the U.S. deliveries of the vehicles due to begin as soon as December. Now, VinFast, which began operations in 2019, is gearing up to expand the U.S. market, where it hopes to compete with legacy automakers and startups with its two electric SUVs, the VF8 and VF9, including battery leasing to reduce the purchase price. Now, VinFast, a part of Vingroup, will start shipping cars overseas in November, and customers will have cars delivered to them as soon as December. Now, the company has registered almost 65,000 reservations globally, and it expects to sell 750,000 EVs per year by 2026, starting with the VF8 and VF9 all-electric SUVs. In March, VinFast said it would build a production plant in North Carolina with an initial projected capacity of 150,000 EVs a year. It tapped banks in July to raise at least $4 billion in funding for the project. The VF8 and VF9 vehicles will start at $42,200 and $57,500 respectively for the U.S. customers, including the cost to lease the electric battery. From September, the company will also offer customers options that include batteries. United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres today visited several areas of Pakistan ravaged by floods as he rounded off a two-day trip aimed at raising awareness of the disaster. Accompanied by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, Guterres looked at the flooding of Sindh province as he flew to Shukur to meet the Chief Minister. A video filmed by the Pakistan government showed. The UN chief reiterated that massive financial support was needed to overcome the crisis.
Obviously, developed countries have an absolutely key role to play in the international financial institutions joining them. First is that Pakistan, including Sindh, needs today massive financial support to overcome this crisis. And I've been saying, and you repeated it, this is not a matter of generosity, it's a matter of justice. Second, we need to stop the madness with which we are treating nature.
Coming up in sports, tireless Alcaraz on the cusp of Grand Slam glory. Well, Malacca United FC head coach Mohamed Azri Ningal hopes his team can bounce back after recording 3 consecutive defeats when they were bashed 3-0 by Kedah Darul Aman FC in their Super League match last night. Well, Mohamed Azri said the absence of some key players who suffered injuries affected the team's playing style, which saw lack ideas and creativity, especially in midfield and attack, in creating scoring opportunities. Well, he also said that the 3 defeats in a row is not an easy thing to swallow, but the players have to accept the reality. Now, despite that, Mohamed Azri did give credit to the team's under-21 players who gave their best. Meanwhile, Kedah head coach Aidil Sharin Sahag said praise should be given to his players who played well and followed the game plan to bring home 3 points.
I think that's football. I have to accept it, and we could have scored more, yeah. But I still, salute my players for giving their best. Of course, I knew they want to score, but it's just unfortunate some chances they're given, they didn't nail it and didn't took it. But the most important is 3 points for us tonight, the objective that we got it.
He also said his team will do their best preparation and improve on the existing weaknesses to face Selangor FC in their next match. The result saw Kedah move up to 5th in the Super League standings with 24 points from 16 matches, while Malacca are 9th with 17 points from 17 outings. And on to tennis, Spanish teenager Carlos Alcaraz ended Francis Tiafoe's dream run at the US Open with a 6-7, 6-3, 6-1, 6-7, 6-3 win to reach his first major final, where he will face Casper Ruud with the world #1 ranking on the line. Well, Alcaraz got Tiafoe's shot hit the net on match point. It was a 50th match win for Alcaraz, the most of any player on the ATP Tour this year. Well, Alcaraz needed. Well, that concludes this evening's News at 10. In our top story, interagency meeting on Monday to discuss flood preparation. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Mohammed Amin Carlos, and stay tuned to saluran Berita RTM. Well, salam keluarga Malaysia and have a pleasant evening.